If you saw an American influencer, perhaps, speaking Chinese to a classroom of American students, and they were talking about the topics you're talking about, but like for China, like what would you think that is going on?
I would have absolutely no idea what's going on. I'd be like, first of all, who is this guy and where's he getting his information? Second of all, I'd be like, why is he allowed to teach his stuff to students? I mean, like, doesn't he have a supervisor? Isn't there like a high school principal that oversees the curriculum? And then third of all, it's like, what motivates this guy? Why is he doing what he's doing? Because like, this is not going to help kids get into college. It's not going to help them do well on the SAT. This is all just silly. I would have absolutely no idea what's going on. I'd be completely confused. I'd be flabbergasted by this guy. I would have absolutely no idea who he is. I would not know why he's doing what he's doing. And I'd be confused as to how he's able to get away with this crap.
And do you feel like your answers so far have answered that pretty fully?
Um, if you just go in my history, I do all sorts of strange things. People who know me aren't surprised by what I do. They're surprised by how famous I've become, but they're not surprised by what I do. I'm just a strange guy, right? Because I went to Yale, and I come to China, and I spend my entire life here just teaching, and I'm like impoverished as compared to my Yale classmates, right? Who've become lawyers and doctors and who live very respectable lives on the Upper West Side in New York. So when I first got into Yale, all my cousins hated me because now they're under pressure to get into the Ivy League as well. And then like 10 years later, I hear a story of how my cousin got into a fight with his mother. And his mother said to him, you have to work harder because you want to be like Uncle Jiang and get into Yale. And then the cousin was like, yeah, Mom, but he went back to China. And that ended the conversation. I was never mentioned again in that household. So I mean, my relatives, my family is shocked by how strange I am. Like, you go to Yale, like you win the lottery, and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna just throw it away and go to a place where my Yale degree doesn't really matter, where I can't become a doctor or a lawyer. I can only become a high school teacher. So I'm just a strange person in general. And then, in 2008, I built China's first public school international program to send Chinese kids to America for college. And at that time, this was a new field, and everyone knew it was like a rocket ship. I could become a millionaire just helping Chinese kids apply to university. And a lot of people did become millionaires. But after a couple of years of doing that, I walked away because I didn't want to do this for the rest of my life. I didn't want to become a business person. I didn't want to make millions of dollars getting rich kids into Yale and Harvard. I walked away. I worked for the United Nations in 2006. And look, when you work for the United Nations, it is the cushiest, easiest life anyone can live, okay? It is the silliest thing ever to exist. But like, I literally was making 6 figures doing nothing every day, just sitting in my office and pretending to type on a keyboard. And like, if I had a family, every one of my kids would be given free international schooling. If I flew around, it'd be business class. I'd be given a pension after 10, 20 years, a full pension. I was treated like royalty wherever I went because I'm the United Nations. And I walked away because I thought it was a meaningless existence. So I'm often confused by myself. People think, my friends tell me, they don't understand why I do what I do. So it's led me to this point. And again, like my friends are not surprised by what I do, which is, teach conspiracy theories in high school. Like, that's just part of my personality. But they're kind of surprised I have like 2 million followers right now on YouTube, right? they're kind of surprised by that. It's like, whoa. And like these are Yale, Harvard people, right? So they're very conservative. They have a very rigid worldview, and they don't understand how I'm able to teach this and be so popular in the world.
Did you manifest this?
That's a really good question. The short answer is yes, but the real answer is I imagine this possibility, right? I, but you know, the thing though is that I am a writer by training. Like I write books, and so I imagine things all the time. And I imagine that this could be a possibility one day.
Hmm.
And I position myself, I maneuver myself into this position. So 5 years ago, during COVID, I was so upset about COVID. It really annoyed me how the entire world just shut off its brain, right? Just like, okay, well, this vaccine, well, we don't know if it works, but some scientists said it works, so it must work. So I'll just put it in my body and hope for the best. It was just insane to me. I've been fascinated by social media, by the internet. So I was watching a lot of Joe Rogan. I was watching a lot of Jimmy Dore. I was watching a lot of alternative media, and I I became drawn to alternative media because like I like debate, I like conversation, I like exploration. And it seemed to me like people like Jimmy Dore, Joe Rogan, uh, Brett and Eric Weinstein, um, Tucker Carlson, these were people that were trying to seek the truth, that were really questioning the world. And I was like, you know, I would one day like to be on the show. I feel that's the direction I could go. And so then I asked myself, okay, if I want to be like them, because only by being like them can I appear on the show, right? Then they're not gonna like ask a random high school teacher to be on their show. What can I do that makes me so distinct that I might be popular on social media?
Hmm.
And my solution was, I'm going to make some stupid predictions and hope they turn out correct. And if they aren't correct, I'm going to be a laughing stock for the rest of my life. But if they are correct, then I might get on Tucker Carlson, right? So that was my strategy and planning when I started the YouTube channel. It sounds so silly, right?
Are you telling me that you didn't believe those predictions?
So I believe my predictions. I believe it would turn out the way they did very strongly. Because remember, I had to, first of all, explain my predictions and justify my predictions. But I also tape myself and put it on YouTube, right? Which means that now there's a historical record that I made these predictions. And I would only do that if I truly believed in them. But what happened was that for the past 5, 6 years, I was having conversations with friends, and we'd have these silly arguments about geopolitics. Like, we argued about who the Democratic nominee would be in 2020, and I was like, why are we having this stupid argument? It's gonna be Joe Biden, okay? And like there was a lot of pushback and says, no, it's gonna be Pete Buttigieg, it's gonna be Kamala Harris, because we want a younger candidate. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what you want. It matters how the world works. And Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. I also predicted that Trump would win in 2020 and beat Joe Biden. And then there was talk of Putin invading Ukraine, attacking Ukraine. And my friends were like, it's not gonna happen. There's no way. It's too dangerous. And Putin would lose. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so silly. This is all obviously gonna happen. And for whatever reason, all my friends believe the complete opposite. And I can't talk to my friends anymore. It's just pointless. These are Yale, Harvard people who are supposed to be like some of the smartest people in the world. And they have like these thick skulls. And like, it's almost impossible to relay obvious reality to them. So screw this. I'm gonna make my own YouTube channel and just speak my heart, basically.